I just wanted to make a short little video on something that I've been seeing a lot of lately in like TikTok videos and some Facebook reels. And it's about these self-defense keychains or like women self-defense kits that people make, where they usually have like resin push daggers or like alarm keychains and so on and so forth. And I just wanted to touch on the topic because I feel that they are actually more unsafe than they are capable of providing you with an adequate self-defense tool. And I want to go into detail as to why they aren't actually effective and what tools are actually effective in that kind of situation. So let's get started. Right, first thing I wanted to talk about were the dye self-defense sprays. They're typically advertised as like alternatives to pepper spray, but they don't have the spicy stuff that makes pepper sprays like really sting. They just have red dye instead. So what happens is you use it against the attacker, he gets painted in red, and well, he gets painted in red. And that's usually done so that if he does get away or he does escape, he will get basically permanent dye on him, and it makes it easier for police and such to identify because all you have to do is say the man with red paint on him. But it doesn't actually do anything in a fight. It doesn't actually stop him from attacking you. If not, it will probably aggravate you because you just got dye all over his eyes, which is not good. You don't want your attacker attacking you more. You want something that's actually going to stop him. Hence why you use pepper spray, although it's not legal in the UK. Hence why they use dye spray. But overall, I wouldn't recommend using dye spray at all. It just makes the situation worse. Next thing I wanted to talk about were the tasers, but not just any tasers, very specifically like the ones on like Temu and AliExpress and all that sort, because those tasers, they're bad tasers. They're essentially just like, you know, cheap little tasers that don't have any actual power, so they're like quite low voltage. So what happens is you use it against the attacker, he'll get zapped. If you use those cheap tasers, he'll likely just get annoyed that you tased him and attack you even more, which is, again, not what you want. It's kind of similar to that dye situation where you're just aggravating the attacker rather than actually defending yourself or like stopping him from attacking you, which is not good. And those tasers are always featured in those kits, so it's a bad thing. If you're gonna buy a taser, buy a taser from a reputable brand. I can't speak apparently. Buy it from a good brand. Buy it from a brand that is known for making quality tasers. If you're in America. If you're in the UK, like me, you can't have tasers. They're illegal, like pepper spray. They're illegal. In that case, just don't carry a taser. There are other alternatives for EDCs and self-defense tools that I will talk about later at the end of this video. Another one I wanted to talk about were the alarm system keychains, the one that beat like really high at around like 150 decibels or so on and so forth. Yeah, in theory, they are a good idea because they make a really, really loud noise and it alerts everyone to what's going on in your general direction. It's not actually such an effective tool in that situation because, I mean, they're quite common nowadays, so usually when you pull one, people tend to either ignore it, think that some child's messing with it, or like it's some car alarm or something, or honestly, quite commonly, if people do see a fight happening, regardless of if they hear an alarm or not, they don't tend to actually run to help. They just sort of walk by or like leave it for someone else to sort out. So even if you did have the alarm and someone did see you like in a fight, there is a chance that you still wouldn't get the help that you need. And you can't really use an alarm to defend yourself in that situation if nobody's really paying any attention to you. It's kind of useless, isn't it? Alright, this tool in specific I have special beef with. And it's the stuff made out of resin. Resin knuckle dusters, resin push daggers, resin dulos, list goes on really. Just anything made out of resin that's advertised as a self-defense tool, they're horrible. Matter of fact, I've literally got one here because I hate them that much. For some reason, just to really explain how bad they are. They're made out of resin. They're really weak material. This will either break in your hand or break your hand, which is not good. If it just breaks while you're attacking your attacker, chances are it's just gonna get mad at you, which you don't want because it just attack you even more. What you want a self-defense tool to do is stop the attacker, not make him worse, which is what all these tools basically have in common. This one's the worst offender though, because they're in all of those TikTok videos. All of them feature at least one dumb little resin tool. You can literally get them out of polypropylene, PETG, brass if it's legal wherever you are, so on and so forth. Those will do the job 10 times better than this dumb little thing will. Which goes on to my next point. There is another product that also is featured in resin, but this one is especially bad. And it's the cat knuckle dusters. Yeah, I mean, I guess they look cute and whatever, which is why it's always advertised as like a woman's self-defense kit, like, item. But if you use that in a fight, that's more likely to break your own hands than it will actually hurt your opponent. Again, it's made out of resin. You use that, it's not going to do anything to your attacker. But usually when people make these little resin products, they'll have like sharp edges on them because, you know, it's a cheap little job. You just pour resin in the mold and you sell it for like £5 or something. They've got sharp edges. That's going to injure you far more than a regular like PETG 3D printed tool will. They're just horrible. Why would you rely on something like this? It doesn't even look that good, to be honest. I just don't buy them. Red flag, resin stuff, no. So that's pretty much like the majority of the common tools that you see in these kind of videos. Like I said, they're not actually like an effective thing to use as an EDC tool, because they'll either aggravate your attacker because it didn't work in defending against him. It will either break or it will break your hands, which they're not good. You don't want an EDC tool to do that, you know. But I do have alternatives that are actually effective and efficient in battle, such as, you know, a tack pen. Tack pen. It's made out of aluminium, nice solid body. It's hefty. Won't break on you. It won't break at all. Won't break on you. Obviously, not resin reliable already. It's got a glass breaker point. You use that to break windows if you're like trapped in the car or you've been like, how do you say, held captive in the car. Anyway, you use that to break the glass and escape. Always handy to have a glass breaker on you. It's also got a pen side on this one, just to use for writing notes, which is always handy. You should always carry a pen anyway. I have a Nightcore one. You can get them with Olight as well. Olight ones are nice as well. I personally like the Nightcore ones because I like having a Nightcore set of everything. These are sort of like nice and black. I think the Olight ones come in different colors. I prefer stuff that's like sort of blacked out because it's not obvious. It's a bit more concealed. Following that point, you do have cat flashlights as well. I've got a Nightcore one. This one's 5,000 lumens. I hope that's glowing up the screen, so I don't really know how that looks like on camera. But my point is, it's 5,000 lumens. That's really bright. It's bright enough to stop a dog. What more your attacker, you know, which is good. It's made out of aluminium, so it's got a nice solid body. It's nice and, I mean, the Nightcore ones in particular, they're a bit thick, which I like. They're hefty to the hand. It's got a little serrated edge on it, so you can use that to sort of pry into his fingers and break him, which, trust me, it hurts. It's leaving an indent on my finger, so, you know. Typically you use this and the tack pen as a deterrent. So with the tack pen, you use it as a dulo, you hit him, and you sort of hit him in a vulnerable spot usually. But when you do, he gets deterred, you have your opportunity to run away. You don't normally continue after that. It's not a battle, it's literally just to get you safe. I prefer the tack flashlights because you flash him, you bash him, and you dash. Flash, bash, and dash. That's pretty much it. Really simple. That gives you a really good window of escape. They're really effective, just on the fact that they flash your opponent alone. I personally prefer them over the tack pen. You can also get them with Olight. I do have an Olight one. This Olight one in particular, I think it's the Warrior M2R Pro. It's a really good one. If I had to recommend any Olight one, this is probably the one I'd recommend. It's got a serrated edge on the top. That will hurt when you bash him in the head. Really effective. Although with maybe illegal depending on where you are. These ones, they're perfectly legal to carry around in the UK. That's why I have them always on me. This one, kind of. I would prefer to carry the Nightcore on me. It's also got serrated edge on this one. It's not as bright as the Nightcore, but it's still gonna do the job. A bright flashlight's a bright flashlight at the end of the day. I do have a couple of other tools. I primarily carry those EDC tack flashlights and tack pens, but if it is legal where you are, you can carry a folder or a folding knife. Those are handy. Obviously, it's a folder, so it's nice and portable. You can carry it in your purse and then just deploy it whenever you need it. It's got serrated edge on this one, so you can use it to cut rope and stuff. It's a knife. What more can I say? Pretty much tells you all you need. Hit him. Get out. You don't have to kill him. You just need it to defend yourself. This one in particular has a glass breaker. Always handy to have one, like I said, in case you're in situations you need it. To accompany it, you also have a seatbelt slasher, seatbelt cutter, sorry. You use that to cut off the seatbelt because if you're in a car, chances are you're also locked down there. It's quite handy to have one of these. I personally like this as an EDC if it's legal where you are. In the UK, it's not legal, so I can't carry them. I always use the flashlight over this one anyway. But if it's legal where you are, do carry one. Always handy to have. I think there's one more thing I want to go over. Oh, no, actually. A lighter. It's a strange one to talk about, but believe it or not, fire hurts. Did you know that? No, obviously you did. But usually if you're in a chokehold, you can't just pull out a lighter and sort of burn his hand away. It will hurt, it will deter him. Like I said, most of these EDC tools serve to be a deterrent, so all you have to do is make him feel a certain amount of pain for him to let you go and give you the opportunity to escape. A lighter does that pretty well, and you know, if you smoke, chances are you'll have one already. Well, I didn't like so well. You don't also just have to have a clipper. You can just, sorry, that wasn't a clipper, that was a Zippo. But my point is you can use a clipper. You can just use any regular old lighter. It doesn't have to be like a special one. These ones work fine. It's fire. Fire will hurt. I mean, following on that point, you've also got multi-tools. If they're made out of aluminium or steel or metal, they'll be sturdy enough to use as a dulo anyway, depending on the shape. This one personally is quite dulo-ified. And you've got knives on them, although I wouldn't recommend that you use the knife on them because sometimes, I'll try to demonstrate it on this one. Sorry. Forgive me, my hands are sweaty. You've got a knife on that point. Let's say let's close it. Right. There's a high likelihood that it's just going to close back on your hand because it's full knife. Not good. I wouldn't... Sorry, the video cut out. I ran out of storage. Happens. Anyway, what I was saying about the multi-tool point is you've got a folding sort of knife on there. You wouldn't usually want to use something that folds like that because chances are you'll cut yourself on it. I wouldn't cut myself on it, but if that folds on you, you'll end up injuring yourself instead of actually defending yourself. I personally just use it as a dulo. If your multi-tool has a fixed knife on it, you can probably use it in that situation, but personally I find that I wouldn't use a knife in multi-tools anyway. But if you do have one on you, you can use it as a weapon. Much like a mobile phone, if you have a big mobile phone, you can actually use that as an EDC, just as a dulo, you know, just... Anyway, that pretty much wraps up the video. I did talk about a few EDC weapons that I would recommend. Tack flashlight, I always recommend that one. Definitely always have one on your loadout. It is a bit expensive to get some of these tack flashlights. I think I paid £90 for mine. But the investment that you put towards like ensuring your own safety, it's worth it 10 times over. Invest in good stuff. Don't buy cheap stuff. That's pretty much it. Bye now.